Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Maggie.
And we are...
Hopefully awesome.
That's right. A positive place on the internet where we nerd out about all the geeky things we love. And, of course, this week's geeky thing is... Smallville. We got a TV, everybody. If you want to hear more about that, head over to patreon.com/hopefullyawesome for the Hopefully Awesome Weekly, where we discuss why we got this TV. But yeah, hey, welcome to Going Back to Smallville. Don't play with Clark's nose. I'm still looking into like a diffuser or something so that we don't get the lights. But you don't need to worry about that, because this is Going Back to Smallville, our weekly podcast where we talk about Smallville week by week, episode by episode, and we have a lot of fun so far. We are in season 2. If you'd like to go back to season 1, just go back to it, man. You're going back to Smallville. Think about it. But yeah, Maggie, what's up?
Just waiting.
You from out of town?
Huh?
You from out of town?
No.
Yeah. You from out of town?
No.
Well, you better be getting back, because we're going back to Smallville.
That's so cheesy.
Hey, before we go back to this episode of Smallville, we have to do something we have not ever done before. We have to go back to last week's episode of Smallville
Because we forgot a very important tidbit.
Yeah, well, so listen, the site I use to help me recap everything, they like to group scenes together that don't go together. So, like, if a character's introduced, like in this week's episode, it talks about the principal, and, like, they group, like, him talking to the girl, him talking to Lex, and him talking to somebody else, all as one scene. Yeah, and so it's like, sometimes things get lost, right? And we lost it. We lost the final scene from last week, so we're going to dive back into last week's episode, where we begin at Clark's barn. So this is right after Lionel showed some feelings. There it is. We're at Clark's barn, and Lana pulls up, and Clark's, lifting some hay bales and looking all hot and sweaty, baby. You know what I'm saying? They got some of them abs. Just want to rub some butter on it. You know what I'm saying?
Grate some cheese off of them.
Get it all dripping and wet.
I'm going to wash some clothes off of those abs.
Hey, so Lana asks Clark, he's lifting hay. So Lana asks Clark about disappearing at Byron's hospital, and Clark says he assumed that they could use some alone time together. And Lana's like, oh, okay, sure. And then she looks in his back pocket. What's he got packing back there, Maggie?
Oh, a poetry book.
A book of sonnets. And she says, what is this, sonnets? And Clark's like, yeah, since my boy Byron liked them so much, I thought that maybe I could learn something from him. And he's like, Lana, listen, I'm apologizing for having lied to you. I'm sorry that, I told you I wasn't going to go to Byron, but then I went to Byron, and I'm sorry about that. And it sucked, and I'm sorry. And she's like, you know what? I accept. And she's like, I admit that when I confronted Byron, Clark, you were the first person that I thought of. I was sitting there, and Clark's like, what? And she's like, yeah, I was sitting there, and I thought, what would Clark do in this situation? Yeah. And then she says she feels like she made it worse by trying to talk to Byron. And Clark reassures Lana that trying to help a friend was always a good thing. And then he asks how she is okay with Byron, even though he's different. Lana says, if you really like someone, you like every part of them, but you can't do that until they share every part with you. Clark says he thinks people like Byron hide that part of themselves so that they don't scare people away. Lana says, if you want to be close to someone, you have to take that risk. Clark asks, what if the risk is too big to take? And Lana responds, then you might miss out on something special. The cows moo. The end. That was last week's episode of Smallville.
Whoops.
So, yeah, kind of important. A little bit important, but, like I said, who would have thought the fan wiki of Smallville would let me down like that, I mean, it's not let us down so far. I mean, we've been, 28 episodes, 26 episodes of last week?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been fun. So, I mean, everybody gets one.
Yeah.
So, now let's get back to this week's episode of Smallville. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. This is season 2, episode 6, Redux. Is that how we decided it?
I thought it was Is it Redux? I can't remember.
Do we have to do this again? Copy. All right, Maggie, fill some time for us.
I thought it was redo because it's like French sounding, but I could be wrong.
Keep filling time.
I'm trying. I don't know. Look at this. This is Alan. What do you think about our TV? Redux. Yep.
Redux.
Yeah, Redux.
Redux.
Like, look at these ducks.
Like 3 ducks.
Oh.
Like our TV.
Good job, Maggie. So, season 2, episode 6, Redux. Episode 27 overall. Original air date was October 29th, 2002. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Clark is peering into my soul. The reflection from the TV.
He knows everything you've done.
October 29th, 2002. Written by Garrett Lerner and Russell Friend. You got a friend in me.
Russell.
Oh. Wicked. Directed by Chris Long. You want to know why they call him Chris Long? Because that's his last name.
Oh. I thought you was going to do a ramen thing there.
No. I thought about talking about a penis, but I decided not to.
That's what I meant.
What was long rhyme with it's a penis?
Replace the L and long with D.
Laud? All right. At Smallville High's swimming pool, when we get this episode, let me just say, this episode is another shitty one, okay? Like, it's fine.
It's all right.
And I will say, last week, when we ended the episode, I thought that this week's episode was a certain episode, and it's not. So I was wrong last week when I was like, oh, this one's going to be a good one. It was not that episode. Apparently that episode's next week, but we'll talk about that at the end. So we begin our episode at Smallville High's swimming pool. Yeah. Clark and Pete are swimming and pissing in the pool on each other. Like,
they're all wet.
Look at this, Pete. I'm peeing everywhere, man. And Pete's like, you nasty, Clark. You fucking nasty. And Clark's like, and so,
wow.
So we go over. Yeah, you never peed in a pool with your buddies and see who can make the biggest pee stain in the pool. Oh man, you're missing out, Maggie. Listen, when you just get in the pool and you just start peeing.
I will never get in a pool with you.
I've never peed in the pool. Okay, you gotta be cool if you go pee in the pool. So Lana,
oh my God.
I've never peed in the pool. Maybe when I was a child. I don't know. Maybe when I was like a baby, but like never when I was in control of my urinary tract.
Okay.
So anyway, Lana, I've made it one sentence in to this recap, everybody. So Lana is working on Spirit Week or Homecoming or some shit. With a new girl named Chrissy Parker. Gee, I wonder.
Lana, you're doing that sign so well. It's like you used to be a cheerleader.
And Lana's like, Chrissy, you're my best friend. And we all know immediately.
We're BFFs.
We all know immediately Chrissy's either going to die or is the bad guy of the episode. Like, we don't just throw random students into this shit, you know. But Chrissy's boyfriend comes over. His name's Troy. And he's like, hey, babe. How about a kiss before my next race for good luck? And she's like, I'll give you more than a kiss, big boy. And then they go into the back, right? And then he comes back out and he's like, hey. And Clark's like, hey, you ready to race, Troy, huh? Because winner gets a golden shower. In the pool, because we peed in the pool, Troy. You go pee in the pool. We pee in the pool. It's so cool. We go pee in the pool. And the coach is like, God damn it, Clark, Troy.
You threw off the pH balance in the pool again.
Quit pissing in my pool and get on the goddamn diving board, you fucking pieces of shit.
Wait,
I once coached the Olympic swimming pool team for 25 years.
Wait, coach?
Oh, I'm back. I am the Hothie. As he holds up a loaded gun and shoots it in the air.
Yeah.
And the ceiling falls down, right?
Yeah.
And Clark and Troy are like, oh shit, I guess we gotta swim. So they jump in, start swimming. And then Troy starts doing one of these.
Yep.
Sounds like he's a fucking putty from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And he's in trouble. And then Clark looks back and he's like, huh, Troy, you're gonna run through my pee, Troy. Oh no, where'd Troy go? And everyone's like, Troy, no, he's drowning. And so Clark super swims under the water. I guess nobody could see him because you can't see through water.
It's so deep.
And you can't see through water, Maggie. Did you know that?
Can't. Nope.
And so he grabs Troy and he brings him up to the top. Everybody's like, give him some air. And then a shoulder moves out of the way. And what? Troy is now 60 years old.
Yep.
Is he dead? He dies, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Wow. Somebody save me. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So now we go over to the Kents. Martha and Jonathan are talking about their financial struggles. Martha's like, listen, Jonathan, I know we don't know what the hell we farm around here. I don't know. You don't even know.
No,
we got all kinds of shit.
This is why we're in trouble.
And I'm working a job with fucking Lionel Luthor. And listen, you don't even know what the fuck we're doing here, all right? So how about instead of taking out another loan, taking out another mortgage, or filing fucking bankruptcy, you dumb hick, how about you just let me ask my goddamn dad for some help? And Jonathan's like, I will die before I let you ask your father, Clark, about this, because his last name's Clark, because Clark was Martha's maiden name. Mm-hmm. So everybody, whenever we talk about Peepaw Clark, we're talking about his Peepaw, not Clark. All right.
Okay.
His name's William Clark, but god damn it, I'm not calling him William.
We call him Bill.
We call him Billy.
Willie.
That went Peepaw Willie. Oh, Peepaw Willie. So what are we talking about here? And then Clark walks in and he's like, oh, we gotta see Peepaw? And how come we never talk about Peepaw? And why have I never met Peepaw? And everybody's just super quiet, right? And Clark's like, why does everybody get so quiet when I start talking about Peepaw? And Jonathan's like, listen, Clark, son Clark. There's just too much bad blood between us, all right?
Much.
You would have thought this was a fucking Taylor Swift song. Because, baby, now we got bad blood.
Wow.
I hit the wrong button again. And Clark's like, son of a bitch. So we go to the town.
How come I can never get what I want?
First a Sea-Doo and now Peepaw? I never get anything in this fucking family. God, all I want is a Sea-Doo and ride the Sea-Doo with my Peepaw. Peepaw Willie. I just want to be Peepaw Willie. I love Peepaw Willie. Peepaw Willie.
Oh my god, my ears.
Is Peepaw Willie the new Pee-Pee? So now we're at the Talon. There we go. And Clark delivers muffins to Lana, and he's like, baby, I want your muffin. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Clark?
Clark, you're so weird.
And he's like, I'm sorry, I was just thinking about Peepaw Willie all the way over here.
That's weird, Clark.
Don't you ever miss your Peepaw Willie? And she's like, no, I miss my parents, though.
Well, I miss my parents. I miss
dead.
my mom and dad every day.
God, Clark, you're so insensitive. God, don't you know any better? It's a secret. You wouldn't understand. And then Lana's like, hey, look at this old box over here. And Clark's like, oh shit, what's in this box, Lana? And she's like, I don't know. And she opens up and what? Oh, there's some pornographic photos of her mom and some dude. Like, just fucking get down, all right? And like, listen, this is 2002. There weren't sex tapes here, okay? We had sex Polaroids, okay? And so, like, you just had to imagine what was between the frames, if you know what I'm saying. And Clark's like, oh, is that your mom?
Is that your dad?
Fuck, they're getting nasty.
God.
Man, I bet his name's Willie. Penis.
Oh my God, Matt.
And Lana's like, oh wait, no, those are wrong photos. Sorry. Those were Whitney's. All right, here we go. Oh, look, here's my mom and, and a man. And they're fucking, I don't know, they're having sex. I threw away the photos so we didn't have to deal with the photos anymore. And then just immediately it was another set of sex photos. Oh my
Lord.
God.
Oh, dear Lord.
This is off to a great start. And so, no, Lon's like, fuck, wrong photos again. Sorry, Clark. Okay, here's some photos. It's my mom. I swear, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it a third time. It's my mom and some guy, and they're having a picnic and drinking wine. And Clark's like, oh, maybe they were friends before your mom and dad got married. And Lana sees that they're dated after her parents were married. And Lana's like, fuck. And then Lex walks in and he's like, oh, who's the hot and heavy couple over here? And Lana's like, oh, sorry, those were for Whitney. And he's like, fuck. Oh, Lana, where are you holding? Who's this hot and heavy couple over here? And Lana like looks at him and he's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. And he's like, listen, Lana, I didn't realize that was your mom and some random bro. But if you want, I can find out who this douchebag is if you want.
I might ask Aunt Nell.
Lana's like, maybe, I don't know. And Clark's like, man, look at the time. Better get going down the old dusty trail heading to Smallville High. I'm running a little bit late here. And Lana's like, I get the first 2 periods off. And Clark's like, well, that's not fair. And she's like, yeah, well, neither is me making 70 cents on the dollar of every man that fucking works at the town, Clark. Maybe that's not fair. All right. Maybe women's rights should be fair, Clark.
I'm Lex. Lana, you keep doing you. Keep up the good work at the town.
Let me tell you something about 2 periods.
I'm sorry you have that many periods a month, Lana. Clark, why don't I drive you to school?
I want to hear about Lana's periods.
Dude, no, that's personal.
I mean, listen, Lex, I'll be honest. I was just going to run.
You can't, no, buddy.
I can't outrun my Porsche.
No.
And Lana's like,
I'm about to smack you.
And then Clark's like, okay, well, I guess I'll let you drive me to school then, Lex. And Lex like, okay. And so they get in Lex's car.
Yeah, and they're like, what the hell's up with Lana's laugh today?
I don't know, maybe it's something to do with her 2 periods or something. I don't know. But now we're at Smallville High, and Clark and Lex arrive, and the new principal, old Terrence Reynolds.
Locking the gate.
Reynolds style. That's anytime I talk about Terrence Reynolds, Principal Reynolds, you have to say Reynolds style.
Okay,
All right. So Clark and Lex arrive, and the new principal, Terrence Reynolds.
Mr. Terrence Reynolds.
Reynolds style.
Oh, Reynolds style.
30 seconds ago.
Reynolds style. Okay, do
All
it
right,
again.
try again.
Yeah.
All right. So Smallville, Clark and Lex arrive, and the new principal, Terrence Reynolds.
Reynolds style.
There it is. He's locking the parking lot gates. He locks the parking lot gates. And Clark's like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Sorry, party man.
Who are you?
I was just running late, party man. And Principal Reynolds isn't having it. You let me know, Maggie.
Again?
It's every time.
Every time.
Do you want to?
Reynolds style. Reynolds style.
And so Lex tries to take the heat off Clark, saying it was Lex's fault. And Principal Reynolds
style
gets more pissed and tells Clark to get his ass to class. Lex realizes it's his old headmaster from boarding school. And Principal Reynolds
style
fucking hates Lex. He fucking hates him. Holy shit, you would have thought Lex fucked his daughter and then paid for her to go have an abortion or something, all right?
Oh my god.
What? I'm just saying, Lex runs for governor of Georgia, you know? So anyway, So there it is. So we're at Smallville High still. Sorry, maybe, should I take that back? I'm sorry, buddy. He just said he hates him, all right? Because he thinks he fucked his daughter or something.
No,
I'm just leaving it at that. I'm just leaving it at that, all right? Lex knows how to wrap it before you tap it, all right? Condoms, safe sex, everybody. Practice it. What? Just trying to see how deep this hole I'm digging goes. How
About to pinch you.
let's end the Principal Reynolds style.
Oh,
How about just whenever he appears in the first time he appears in a scene?
Okay.
Okay. It's like the Talon.
Okay.
Okay. So we're in the school now, and Principal Reynolds. Yes, about Chrissy, about her missing transcripts, and she says she'll talk to her parents about
I'll
it.
talk to my parents tonight.
And she's like, maybe I guess my old school is just, they're stupid. They get so behind on things, but I'll talk to my parents. And Principal Reynolds is like, okay, cool, whatever. So now we go into the torch, and Clark enters and tells Chloe and Pete about meeting the principal. And Chloe says, Clark's like, listen, this Principal Reynolds guy is a real piece of work, okay? Like, he locks the gates. He doesn't let anybody in unless they check in with the office and go through the medical detector. He's just, listen, he just does not like things like at all, okay? I'm Clark, and he made me feel like I wasn't myself. And Chloe's like, I like him. She says that he has an impressive resume. And then they all wonder. They're like, well, how did he end up at Smallville High anyway?
Yeah. Reynolds style. That's how you show up. See, now don't you wish that you did not introduce that to me now?
No, I like it. It's good. It's fun. It makes me laugh. So now we're at the torch. Or I'm sorry, no, the Talon. And Clark is helping Lana set up the theater section of the Talon for Spirit Week. Oh, Mickey, you're so fun, you're so fun. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Hey. And Clark's like, listen, Lana, I really miss my peepaw. My peepaw Willie.
I never met him.
I never got to meet him.
You never met your grandfather, Clark?
No, Lana. I really want to meet my peepaw Willie.
But what's the beef about your parents not wanting to see your grandfather?
He said, I asked my dad. And my daddy said, baby, now we got bad blood. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I just want to meet my old peepaw. Can you believe I don't know my peepaw?
Clark, you've stated that many times already. That's all you've said since you entered the Talon today. Dude, pull it together. Just call him up or something. Call him up. Talk to your mom and dad about it.
I want to know who Peepaw is. And I want Peepaw to know me.
Wow. Clark, that's a new low, buddy.
And Lana's like, listen, while you're thinking about that.
Listen, Clark, I have more problems.
These pictures, I just don't know. And Clark's like, well, why don't you go ask Nell about it? And Lana's like, yeah, I should. And then he's like, well, here's your chance. And Nell's just standing there like a fucking idiot, right? Like, we haven't seen her since she was dating and got engaged to old Butch piece of shit. I don't know
Cassidy.
what his name is. Butch Cassidy, yeah. And Clark suggests that, again, hey, here's your chance. And then Lana goes over and she's like, hey, Nell, who's in these photos? And Nell's like, listen, Lana, your mom loved her family. Yeah. And Lana's like, okay, who's in the photos, though?
Who's that?
And she's like, oh, what? Are these people fucking? And I was like, shit. Sorry. The wrong photos again. Sorry.
Those were Whitney's.
Here, Nell. This... Like, who's the couple? Because it's not Lana and Whitney. No. Like, in the photos. Like,
I think Wabba was sneaking around taking pictures of people.
But why would Lana have them?
Because he wanted to plant them all there.
So anyway.
He's going through a lot of shit when his dad was in the hospital.
That's true. He was a cuck. It's so Nell's like, I'm not going to tell you anything, but your mom loved your family. And Lana's like, you piece of shit, Nell. You are worthless.
You're lying to me, Nell.
And Nell's like, listen, I've learned to stop giving you things after you lost that necklace that I have bought for you, okay? That necklace was carved out of the meteor that killed your parents to remind you that if you don't fucking ship up or ship out, I'm going to fucking kill you like this meteor killed your fucking parents, Lana.
You saying that you summoned a meteor to Smallville?
So now we go to the Kent farm.
Nell's a witch.
We go to the Kent farm. And
Quack, quack, quack.
Have ducks?
Quack, quack,
They
quack,
really
quack,
have no idea what they're farming there, do they?
Wait, no,
probably
they don't have
corn.
horses.
Yeah, all the horses are
Yeah,
dead, remember?
yeah.
And then, who's that?
Wow.
And Martha says, Dad,
Daddy?
is that you? And Peepaw Clark shows up to talk to his daughter, Martha.
Peepaw Willie.
Martha reveals that she asked Peepaw for some money, but didn't tell Jonathan about it. And they're like, fuck. And then William Peepaw's like,
God, Matt.
listen, Martha. You listen here, Martha. I knew from the moment that you married that lowlife piece of shit Kent that one day you'd be calling back here and asking me for money. And now look, 16 years later.
Look at you.
And I was right and you was wrong. My own flesh and blood is wrong.
You got a good education.
I wanted more for you, Martha. And Martha's like, okay, Dad, I don't know what's wrong with you, but okay. And then Clark walks up and he's like, Peepaw! It's Peepaw, Willie!
And he jumps on him.
He jumps like piggyback ride. Come
Yeah!
Come on, old man, piggyback, come on.
Yeah.
People's like, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die.
Get off of me, boy!
What the fuck is this teenager on me? What the fuck?
And why is he calling me Peepaw? Oh my god. Really?
Just the visual of Clark jumping on this old man, asking him for a piggyback ride. It's just so fucking funny to me. And so he introduces himself. Peepaw's like, holy fuck.
I have a grandson?
Why didn't you ever tell me, Martha? And Clark's like, I'd love for you to stay for dinner, Peepaw.
Why don't you stay for dinner with us?
And he's like, nah, I don't do dinner. You shit.
You don't eat?
I ate dinner 3 hours ago.
Oh, that was supper?
Yeah, that was at 2 p.m. I went down to the Golden Corral and got me a nice...
Smallville's got a Golden Corral now?
Yeah.
Well,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah, they do.
You eating some of that Bourbon Street chicken?
I got me a plate of rice and potatoes because this old belly don't process like it used to, Clark.
That's a little TMI.
You listen to me, son. If there's anything I could tell you, for the love of God, you need to be regular when you go to the bathroom.
Peepaw, I know
you
that.
need fiber.
Peepaw.
Mom's
told me.
I lost your Peepaw that way.
Peepaw.
Your Peepaw that way.
She
died.
Grandma?
No, Peepaw. She died. She shit herself so hard after 10 days of not shitting, and she pooped. And she died like 4 years later. So just, you gotta eat, Clark. You gotta eat your fiber. Clark, you gotta eat your fiber.
I want to piggyback ride.
I gotta go. So Jonathan,
Martha, you know where to find me.
Later, Jonathan arrives, and Clark's like, Daddy, what happened between you and Peepaw? And Jonathan's like, well, son, let me tell you a story, all right? Sit down, everybody, buckle up, because we're going back to my past. So I asked Martha to marry me. But before I did that, I went to who you call Peepaw, and I said, Willie, you some bitch.
Whoa,
I want to take Martha's hand in marriage.
Well, if you're going to talk to me like that, I don't want you married.
He looked me dead in the eyes, Clark, and he said,
no,
I wouldn't let her marry you if you was the last 2 feet on earth. And John's like, you take that back, you son bitch. And Peepaw's like, I ain't taking nothing back, you son of a bitch. And Jonathan hauls off and punches him right in the goddamn kisser and the prostate. And he looks Willie. I looked Willie in the eyes because I'm still Jonathan telling this story. I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, I hope Peepaw dies of shit herself. Or maybe 4 years after shit herself.
I punched you in the prostate just to keep you regular.
And Clark's like, oh, shit, Dad, you punched him?
And
he's like, you damn straight I did. Boy, I done told you, we don't end fights, we start them. But you don't, because you're too strong. You let your old man take care of business, all right?
Yeah, you don't kill anybody.
So Clark's like, yeah, I think Peepaw wants to put that behind him, though. He seems like he really liked you. And Jonathan's like, I don't fucking believe that shit for me. Get the fuck out of here, Clark.
Put on a front.
Ain't you got hay to bail?
Pa, we've already baled the hay. It's October.
The next day at school, Chloe and Clark are discussing how Troy could have died. And Chloe says that the medical report says his pituitary gland was completely empty, as if it was sucked out of him. And their conversation is interrupted by Principal Reynolds. What is happening? When did this show become like a highway talk radio show?
And I forgot the other part.
Rush Hour Renegades.
Reynolds. What was the other?
Reynolds style. God damn it.
I'm sorry. I'm getting so caught up in the story.
Jason Lee said it in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Marie's like, yeah, you better go Smokey and Bandit on them. Reynolds style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
All right.
And Principal Reynolds says,
Reynolds style.
That's a very interesting theory, Miss Chloe. But, you know, if you don't have proof, then you ain't shit. So if you do have proof, though, you could be onto something incredible. Clark, I need you to see you in my office. And Clark's like, okay. And Chloe's like, damn, he really likes my reporting. And Clark's like, boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Christmas time is here.
I miss people.
I want to see people.
You think I could trick or treat with people this year, Mommy?
I just want a piggyback from my people. Jesus.
So we're in the principal's office, and Clark is just super uncomfortable because he's never been in there before. And Principal Reynolds
style
asks about Clark's friendship with Lex. And Clark's like, yeah, I mean, you know, Lex is just a friend. I say he's just a friend. And I say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, Lex has got what I need. But Lex is just a friend. And Lex is just a friend. But Principal Reynolds is not convinced.
Yeah.
He then asked Clark about his after-school activities. And he's like, Kent, I've been looking at your permanent file. And I see here that you just aren't very active in school. Look at here. You joined football and you quit before the first game. You have no other extracurriculars. And Clark's like, well, I rep for the Torch. And Reynolds laughs in his face.
The cafeteria menu doesn't count.
That is right. He says, reprinting the menu is not a reporter, Mr. Kent. I want you to write me an essay on where you'll be in 5 years.
Man. This blows Principal Reynolds.
This blows donkey dicks.
God.
Who blows donkey dicks? Principal Reynolds blows donkey dicks.
I'm getting a Sharpie and writing that on the walls in the boys' bathroom.
Just carve it with a knife. Yeah. All right. So Clark is at the Talon, and he's working on his essay. And Chrissy is carrying a box, and she looks down her hand, and oh no, bananas, bananas. My hand is looking old and wrinkly. Looks like my vagina.
Bro.
Because she's old.
Bro.
She's old.
Bro.
God.
Not cool.
I'm talking about hers.
No. You should be talking about anybody's.
All right. Listen. She didn't say that. She said my hand is looking all old and wrinkly, like my Peepaw's boss. There, is that better, Maggie?
No.
Are you happy now, Maggie?
No.
And she's like, "Fuck, hey, Clark, you want to help me with some Spirit Week decorations, huh? And Clark's like, "No, I gotta fucking write this essay." And Chrissy's like, "Oh, fuck. Oh, hey, there's somebody else. I'll go ask someone else."
Oh, he's a friend of Troy's.
And Lex walks in and talks to Clark about Principal Reynolds.
What? But I thought you meant physically. You had to be
Okay. That's fine. That's fair. I like that better.
Yeah, there's no way I could do that every time.
And Lex admits that he admires Reynolds' discipline. And Clark's like, "Yeah, well, he's not that big of a fan of yours, Lex." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know, but he's giving me shit." And Lex is like, "You know what, Clark? Let me talk to old Reynolds. I'll show him what's up.
I'll show him some finesse.
When I get done with him, he'll be begging you to be friends with me."
Yeah. Wait.
I don't know what that means. And then Lana comes in and she's like, "Hey, Lex, I've been thinking about it and I want you to look into the man in the photo." And she's like, "Look at this photograph." And then in the back,
It doesn't make me laugh.
Chrissy is working with Troy's best friend, Russell. And she comes on to him.
Yeah, she's like, "Russell,
I just miss Troy so bad."
so much.
And Russell's like, "I know, he was my boy and now he's dead because he aged 60 years.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but you can make me feel better."
Hell yeah, I can. Fucking Troy's dead.
Yeah.
Let the live. Fuck. Yeah. And
Come
she
here.
sucks his glands and just sucks out all the energy from him, and like he just spews his youth into her mouth, you know?
Wow, Matt.
What? That's what she does. She's like a life sucking something. I don't know. All right. So then
Succubus.
we go to the Kents, and Peepaw arrives to give money to Martha, and Peepaw sees Clark, and Clark's like, "Oh, please stay." But
Give me piggyback ride.
then Jonathan pulls up, and he's like, "I should have known. I smelled you, you some bitch. Peepaw, get the hell out of here." And Peepaw's like, "Well, I never. If I'd have known that my daughter would have ended up with the likes of you, I would have pulled out and never had her in the first place."
Dad.
Peepaw, don't talk about plowing Peemaw. She's dead. He's like, "Yeah, because she shit herself, and 4 years later she died." And Clark's like, "Why do you keep talking about it?" He's like, "Clark, listen. Fiber. You need fiber,
I know.
You
Peepaw.
need it,
Peepaw,
son."
I know.
And Jonathan's like, "Take my hand. Take your hand off my boy, Peepaw." And Peepaw's like, "You ain't the Peepaw to me." And Peepaw leaves.
That was like inaudible right there.
And so we're at school. And Principal Reynolds.
Reynolds style.
I feel like I'm slowly going insane in this episode. Runs into Chrissy again, and he's like, "Hey, I tried to talk to your parents. You heard from them?" And she's like, "No, my parents, they were working and shit." And he's like, "Well, I'd really like to talk to them. When would be a good time for me to come over?" And Chrissy's like, "You know what? Principal Reynolds, they're going to be at Spirit Week tonight at the town, and you can talk to them there." And Reynolds is like, "Hell yeah. You got cheesy bastards." And he walks away. Hey, it's sweeping the town, man. But now the principal's doing it, so it's probably not going to be cool much longer.
No.
So he goes to his office, and who does he find?
Lex.
Ah!
Lexi Lex.
He's a miracle. And Lex asks why he's taking his hate for him out on Clark. And Reynolds is like, it's nothing to do with you, Lex. It's about his schooling, because this boy, he needs a good education and to be a part of this school. He doesn't have, I see greatness in him, and I need to get him to have a better future. It has nothing to do with the fucking fact that I ate your fucking guts, you bald-headed fuck.
Now, hey, Mr. Reynolds.
Listen here, Mr. Reynolds. How about this? How about I make a very nice donation for a new library, and you take it easy on Clark. And Mr. Reynolds is like, I should have expected nothing less
God, man.
than to hear that from Luthor. And Lex is like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Reynolds is like, ha! Lionel got me fired because you, Lex, were about to be expelled. But then Lionel, he made a huge donation with two things. One, that you wouldn't be expelled, and that two, I would lose my job. And that's because of you and your goddamn father, Lionel.
I did not know that, sir.
I wish the worst on him. For years, I prayed that God would come down and steal his eyesight.
Sir?
And I'll be damned until the day that he finally answers my prayers and makes Lionel blind.
Hey, sir, did you hear about the tornadoes that tore through here?
Well, fuck no, Lex. I just moved here.
Sir, I'm trying...
what the fuck are you going on about?
Sir, during the tornado, my father got injured and had surgery, and it led to him losing his eyesight.
Holy shit.
So,
am I Jesus? Is this what having Jesus eyes feels like?
wow.
So now we go to the torch. That's weird. Clark is still upset about Peepaw.
Peepaw.
But P is for Peepaw.
P for Peepaw.
I never even got to meet Peepaw. But he won't tell Chloe and Pete about it.
No.
And so Chloe then tells them that Russell is dead. And they're like, what? And it turns out Russell died the same way as Troy. And Clark's like, wait, Chrissy with Troy, Chrissy with Russell. Maybe Chrissy
got something going on?
Maybe Chrissy bad. And
Okay,
Chloe's like,
I thought it was done making Clark sound like that.
he's upset. Maggie.
Okay.
A lot of his brain energy is going towards Peepaw right now. All right. So he's just losing every other word.
I was just trying to make
He's
sure.
upset about Peepaw. All right.
All right,
P is for
man.
Peepaw. P is for Peemaw. And so we're at the Talon. And Lex walks in and gives Lana the information on the man on the photos. And he's like, but Lana, here's the thing. This has everything you need to know. But may I warn you of a little story called Pandora, where Pandora opened the box and couldn't put the genie back in the bottle. So you need to think about that. And Lana's like, you're right, Lex. I'll think about it.
After I open this.
Pandora. And he fades off into vapor. So now we're at the torch again. And at some point, Chloe finds Chrissy in various yearbooks. This is one of those things where they had the scenes combined, so I don't really know where this fell, so we'll just say it falls here.
It's somewhere in there.
Yeah, and so they have the information on, they find the yearbooks going all the way back to the 1920s. This isn't Chrissy, this is Sissy. This isn't Sissy, this is Missy. This isn't Missy, this is Pissy. This isn't Pissy, this is Dawn.
Oh.
Yeah, it is weird. So
Sissy.
we're at the Talon now. And Principal Reynolds meets up with Chrissy. He's like,
Reynolds.
I really hope this is the only episode he said. And Principal Reynolds is like, hey, Chrissy, where's your mommy and daddy at? Little girl. And Chrissy's like, oh, I'm here all alone, Mr.
They haven't
Reynolds.
showed up yet. You're here early.
And he's like, yeah, well, I like to get done early, if you know what I'm saying. And Chrissy's like, oh, I know what you're saying. And she attacks him, right? And he's like, what the fuck is going on? And then Clark and Pete shows up. And Clark's like, hey, Chrissy, get the fuck off of Mr. Reynolds. And she's like, and Pete is there, and Clark's like, hey, Pete, get Mr. Reynolds out of here. And once Reynolds leaves with Pete, Clark goes into action. He stops Chrissy, and Chrissy is like, she's like, oh no, it's been too long without sucking on some dude, and now I'm old. Oh, and she melts, and her eye falls out and shit, and she's dead as any dead thing has ever been dead.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we're at Peepaw's hotel. And Clark arrives and offers Peepaw a photo album of their life because Martha did have such a good life with them. And Peepaw's like, I don't want this fucking shit, Clark. Get this fucking photo album out. And listen, here's a check. Give it to your mommy. All right, you give it to your mommy. Tell her this is from Peepaw. And when she's ready to leave that low life, no good.
That's my dad.
Egg sucking gutter trash.
Hey.
To give old Peepaw a call, and I'll be there. And Clark's like, okay, I'll do it.
You're talking about my dad, but thanks, Peepaw.
I love my dad, but Peepaw, that was spot on. He is a piece of shit sometimes.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe we could talk about it later. Did he ever tell you about
his evil twin?
His horses that died?
Yeah.
And Peepaw's like, it wouldn't surprise me. So now we go to the Kents. And Clark's like, here, Ma, here's the check from Peepaw. I went and saw him. And Peepaw
wishes death upon my daddy.
Peepaw told me that you all wouldn't let him in my life, that you all kept him away. And they're like, well, Clark, that's right, we did. And John's like, listen, Clark, after the shit that he pulled, we didn't trust him. And, you were a little boy, and like...
You wasn't in full control yet.
Yeah, so like we couldn't trust him with your powers, so we just, wrote him out of our fucking life. If you're not going to be vaccinated and masked up, Peepaw, you're not going to be here, all right? I'm just saying.
Whoa.
All right? You ain't going to spread that shit here, because then I'm going to spread this shit here.
Whoa. Dude, you about hit me.
I'm sorry, Clark. Or was you being Maggie?
No, I was being Maggie.
I wasn't going to hit you.
Honey, you was close.
I was not close.
That's close.
No, I'm really far away right now.
That's close.
All right, too close for comfort. And so Clark blames himself for the family rift. And then that night, he goes up to his barn. Last time I talked to you, you were lonely and out of place. And he's working on his essay. And Lana walks in.
Lana?
And Clark tells her that Lana's like, so did you ever find out what you're going to do in 5 years? And Clark's like, you know what? I really like getting to the truth of things, and I'll probably study journalism in college.
Really?
And Lana's like, oh, that's nice, Clark. Listen, inside this manila envelope, I have the answers. Turns out my mom and dad were separated for over a year. And while they were separated, my mom fucked this dude apparently, and but then she went back to my dad, and within a year I was born. He could be my real father. You're falling back to me, divine gravity. We fade up to the stars. I know you're out there, somewhere out there. I know. The end. And now it's time for a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by patreon.com/hopefullyawesome.
That's right. At the $5 tier, you can have access to every episode we make ad-free and have your name listed in the credits of every video. At $10, you'll be able to get access to our all-new exclusive shows right here on patreon.com/hopefullyawesome. Those include Hopefully Weekly, a weekly show where Maggie and I catch up on all the things that's happened over the past week, both in our life and in the world around us. Family Game Night, a weekly show where Maggie and I will play a variety of board games, from Blockbuster Party Game all the way to Fast and the Furious Heist Game, whatever that is.
Highway Heist.
The Hopefully Awesome movie commentary that we'll do once a month, where Maggie and I will watch one of our favorite films and then record us talking about it over it. Kind of like a mix between Mystery Science Theater 3000 and, just us goofing off and talking about nothing related to the film. And lastly, Matt plus Maggie. This is our monthly show where Maggie and I talk about our relationship. I don't think we'll be giving any advice, but hey, Tune in. It'll be fun. And if you want to go above and beyond at the $25 level, not only do you get everything that we've just talked about, but you also get a verbal shout out as our Patreon producer of the entire month. All this and more.
So sign up at patreon.com/hopefullyawesome today.
Maggie, how did you feel about Peepaw's episode?
Not my favorite.
Yeah. I actually have some interesting things about this episode that I think will kind of shed some light on why this episode felt a bit off. But before we do that, let's get into our countdown to Billy. It's time for the countdown to Billy.
Man.
Yeah, I messed that up. 65 weeks.
Oh, man.
Yeah. If you add millions of years to that, that is how long Jurassic Park was in the making. 65 million years in the making.
All right. Awesome.
This has been the countdown to Billy. All right. Now it's time to talk about our Freak of the Week. Maybe we should have had the graphic behind us for these. Nah, that'd be too much work. So, Freak of the Week this week is Chrissy, a.k.a. Life-Sucking Horn Dog.
Nice.
It fits, right? If it fits, I shits. So, current
Wow,
ranking.
Matt.
Number 1, Red Clark. Number 2, Heat-Causing Horn Dog. Number 3, Nixon Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Number 4, Jitters 2. And number 23, Byron. Maggie, where are you feeling Chrissy, a.k.a. Life-Sucking Horn Dog?
22.
No. We say Byron's the only one that gets to go that far.
Okay.
Yeah,
Number
yeah.
5 then.
You think below Jitters 2?
Yeah.
Below Nixon?
Yep.
Fuller's going to wet the bed. Yeah, I agree. What is it? Life sucking. Can I say corn dog? Just to be fun. I'm going to put that instead.
You can.
All right, Maggie.
Okay. Here's our new Freaks of the Week. We have number 1, Red Clark. Number 2, Heat-Causing Horn Dog. Number 3, Nixon Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Number 4, Jitters 2. Number 5, Life-Sucking Corn Dog. And number 23 forever and will be Byron.
Oh my God, that's funny. That shit's funny to me. All right. No flats, no tots. Did they break the rule this week, Maggie?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. So now let's get into some DCU references. Part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. All right. First off, Redux is a Latin adjective meaning brought back. In this episode, both Clark and Lana deal with things brought back from their past. Chrissy Parker, as well, is literally reliving her past, using her metahuman ability to suck the youth out of others. Real quick, we didn't really talk about this. So where does her powers come from?
Mm-hmm. They never said.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if she's been around since like 1902 or something.
She wasn't even from Smallville.
Yeah. So I mean, like, so there are metahumans out there.
Yeah, I guess.
And like they just, they're just not saying yet.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. Like I feel like this is the first time we've gotten a non-meteor meteor freak.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. I know later on we get more stuff like that, but like they dive into it a little bit more. So it's just interesting that they decided not to. Chrissy Parker is similar to the character Pamela Dare from the Superboy TV series that ran from 1988 to 1992. Her character was as old as ancient Egypt. And she stayed young by sucking the youth of young men. When absorbing Superboy's life force, she reduced in age to her original form of white diamonds. That show sounds fucking weird. I'm not gonna lie. Troy Turner is also the bully that made mean comments to Amy Palmer in the first season episode Shimmer. Yeah. Which one was Shimmer? Is that Amy Adams?
I hear that clunk.
No, wait, Shimmer. That's the Rose Cream.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. So it's the same. They brought him back.
Okay.
Brought Troy back. Now he's dead.
Okay.
Yeah. The visual of Chrissy staring into the mirror cube is strikingly similar to the appearance of the Phantom Zone in the first 2 Superman movies and the Supergirl movie. Yeah. Peepaw is from Coast City, the home of Green Lantern, and it is mentioned in this episode as the home of Peepaw William Clark. Pursuing journalism, this hints at Clark's future reporter job at the Daily Planet. Principal Reynolds notes that Clark quit the football team before his first game, which occurred in the season 1 episode's Hotheed. Mr. Reynolds to Chloe said, just make sure you can back them up, and that'll be the difference between writing trash for the Inquisitor and reporting for the Daily Planet. A reference to the Daily Planet, of course. This is where this episode's kind of weird. The first episode filmed for season 2 was actually the 6th episode aired, Redux. So Redux finished principal photography shortly after filming for Tempest, which was the season 1 finale, just before the crew went on their summer break. With Redux filming directly after the season 1 finale, the cast and crew were required to forego the immediateness of their summer break so they could film. It was not aired in the season 2 until the 6th scheduled episode because of complications that arose after filming had ended. This is probably why Clark sends Pete away before he goes to fight Chrissy. At that point in the show's storyline, Pete is still unaware of Clark's abilities. And that's probably why Martha didn't really mention anything about working with Lionel. And while Lionel wasn't really in the episode.
Yeah.
And Lex didn't even mention Lionel.
Yeah.
So, interesting. All right, it's time to get into the Talon mix. Oh, wait. I was going to take down an octave, right? The Talon mix. All right. Boom, Boom, Boom by the Out Here Brothers. Be Aggressive by the Jock Jam. I Don't Know by Tom Racer. All My Life by Foo Fighters. Mickey by Bewitched. Hey, Bewitched.
Yeah. Also played
Say
in Bring It On.
Say you will next to me.
Say la vie.
Say la vie. I just remember it from say you will, say you won't, say you'll do what I want, say you will, say to me, say la vie. Yeah, there it is. You remember the movie Smart House?
Yes.
That, and I also remember Disney Channel concert series Bewitched and 5 in concert. Yeah, Slam Dunk the Funk. So anytime I think of Bewitched, I think of 5.
Yeah.
And why do I think about them so often that I would think about them? There you go. I just love the part where like they're like
the Irish music.
Yeah.
Step and music.
Like it was just so crazy, like right in the middle of a pop song, you know. I don't know. I think about that and like S Club 7 was like around the same time. All right. So let's see. You Girl by Sophie Agapio. We suck at those. You Ugly by the Jock Jam.
Yeah, You Ugly.
Can I See You by Boova. I Feel Fine by Riddlin' Kids. You think that means like Riddlin'? Like, I mean, it says it's like riddling kids, but I bet it was a
maybe.
Ivanka by Imperial Teen. And, of course, the needle drop, Somewhere Out There by Our Lady Peace. Also known as the theme song to White Noise, starring Batman, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And the sequel had Captain Top Pants. Also named Captain Reynolds on Firefly.
Nathan Fillion?
Yeah. Yeah, in the sequel. But Our Lady Peace didn't play in that. All right. Next week's episode, Season 2, Episode 7, Lineage. This is the episode I thought Redux would be. So, Lineage, Maggie, based solely off of the title. What do you think next week's episode is about?
Lineage. It's usually like, you know, sometimes royalty, family stuff. Like, I'm trying to remember, but...
So, what do you think the plot is?
Learning about who your family is or what they left behind.
Who?
Clark.
So you think
or
Clark,
Lana.
So you think, well, okay. So who do you think is learning about what their family and what they left behind?
I think it's Lana.
So you think it's following up with the...
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, that's a big deal. So.
And it is a big deal. And it will remain a big deal. This is not a thing that they throw out there like Nell's engagement and then it never is talked about again. All right. But I mean, we will hear more about that. You better believe it. But You can also hear more about it over at patreon.com/hopefullyawesome, where you can get this episode ad-free and early, as well as our other exclusive shows that we do every week here at patreon.com/hopefullyawesome. Hopefully Awesome Weekly, Family Board Night, Family Game Night, that's the name of it, our monthly commentary track, and many more. So head over there if you'd like to do that. And if not, be sure and hit that subscribe button. You can listen to us on any podcast network or watch us right here on youtube.com/hopefullyawesome. Follow us on all the major platforms, except for Facebook, because it sucks. But follow us on Twitter, as long as it's still around when you watch this. And yeah, do that. But that's going to wrap it up for us, everybody. Thanks for watching. And as always,
have a Reynolds-style day.
Bye.